Gyro and Johnny actually ran into something supernatural. After learning the location of the next piece of the saint's corpse, Johnny and Gyro set out again. But not long after they departed, Johnny felt that the house by the road looked familiar. They should all look the same around here, right? They kept moving forward and again saw something familiar. It was Hot Pants' cow, the one that had been killed. The carved mark was still on it. They walked for over 20 minutes, yet somehow returned to the starting point. Gyro took out the map and studied it, then reorganized the route and set off again. 20 minutes later, they once again returned to the starting point. Johnny guessed there might be small paths not shown on the map. Maybe they accidentally entered one of them when they turned. But Gyro insisted that was impossible. They had only made 3 turns in total. Talking wouldn't help. They had already wasted 40 minutes. Gyro and Johnny immediately turned their horses around and started again. But before long, they once again saw that same house. As the two stood confused, Hot Pants walked slowly out of the forest. Was this strange phenomenon all caused by him? Hot Pants asked directly, "Did you two get lost? How many times have you looped?" Gyro shouted loudly, telling him to stop his horse and not come a single step closer. This bizarre situation was likely caused by him, but Hot Pants told them, "I've been stuck here for over an hour. No matter how I go, I can't get out. Even my compass stopped working. Look at the tracks on the ground. I've already run 4 full loops." Gyro replied, "Get the hell away from us. We will never trust someone like you." But Hot Pants suggested they should work together to escape this place. He even said, "I believe you two aren't bad people." Johnny also thought they should cooperate. Based on everything earlier, he believed Hot Pants wasn't an enemy. Maybe working together was the best option. But Gyro was a man who held grudges. Hot Pants ambushed him before and beat him badly. Work with him? Impossible. Gyro yelled at the top of his lungs, "Go eat shit." Hearing that, Hot Pants took 2 paper-wrapped bundles from his pocket and tossed them over. Inside were beef burgers. If they agreed to work together, he would share the food. Gyro and Johnny were both stunned. "We eat bread every day, and you've been eating like this? Let's cooperate right now." At that moment, smoke began rising from the chimney of the house in the distance. The 3 decided to go ask the person living inside. But just as they approached, another man leaped out from the forest. He was also a contestant. His name was Gaucho. He encountered the same situation and had been looping around this place too. He had even asked the person inside the house for directions, but that person only told him, "Kill me and you'll be able to leave." Clearly insane. It was just asking for directions. After looping many times, Gaucho completely lost his patience. If the man inside wouldn't give directions, then he would do exactly what the man wanted and shoot him dead. Just then, the door slowly opened. A white-haired, white-bearded man, wearing white, stepped outside. Calmly, he said, "Didn't I tell you already? If you want to leave this place, you must kill me first." At first, Gaucho thought it was a joke, but the guy was completely serious. Gaucho instantly grew tense, but when he looked at the man's hands, they were trembling non-stop. Gaucho sneered, "Scared, huh? Your whole hand is shaking." The man didn't deny it. He said he really might be scared, but even if he was scared, this had to continue. "Let's have a fair duel. Your pistol is a Colt 1873. At this distance, you need to step 5 paces closer to shoot accurately. Will you walk 5 steps before firing, or will you shoot now? You said you'd kill me with 1 shot. Was that just empty talk?" Gaucho burst into anger. He drew his revolver and fired immediately. The man drew his gun a moment slower. Just as he expected, Gaucho's shot missed. The bullet grazed the man's shoulder, shattered the oil lamp behind him, and the man used that moment to sprint forward. Gaucho kept firing. He fired 3 more shots, all missed. Only then did the man raise his own weapon and shoot Gaucho in the chest. This kind of pistol wasn't powerful. Outside its range, it was hard to kill with 1 shot. The man kept advancing, came close, and fired again, finally ending Gaucho's life. Contempt filled his eyes, but the hand holding the gun kept shaking. After bowing to the corpse, the man turned around and went back into the house. Gyro and Johnny were both stunned by what they had just witnessed. A murder had happened right along the race route, but Hot Pants said that was a fair duel, so it wasn't illegal. Gyro already disliked Hot Pants. Seeing him this interested, Gyro turned and said, "Legal or not, that's none of my business. If you want a medal, do it yourself. The guy who killed your cow is probably that man." After speaking, Gyro dragged Johnny along and kept moving. But things were far from simple. Hot Pants glanced at the corpse in front of the house, then quickly followed the 2 of them. A small patch of forest, yet Johnny and the others walked around it 4 or 5 times and still couldn't find the way out. The footprints on the ground had already been trampled into a confusing mess. Yes, they decided to mark the trees at each fork in the path. There were only 2 or 3 intersections in total. With reference points, they absolutely wouldn't get lost again. The 3 of them carved marks as they walked, but before long, they returned to the starting point. They tried again, and sure enough, they reached the same marked intersection. Not only that, the trees were still there, the marks were still there, but the same spot now had several identical marks. Gyro shouted, "What are you doing, Johnny? Didn't I say to carve only 1 mark at each turn?" Johnny replied, "Yeah, I did carve just 1. You were watching right next to me when I carved it." Johnny examined the marks carefully. They were indeed made by his hand. He had carved only 1 mark at every fork. So why did all the marks gather in the same place? Now their sense of direction was completely ruined. Could this be an attack from that man's stand inside the house? But what was his goal? Making them spin in circles. What benefit would that bring him? There was no time to think. To keep moving forward, they had to break the man's ability first. Since the enemy had been identified, Hot Pants suggested the 3 of them attack together and kill him while he wasn't expecting it. Gyro didn't trust Hot Pants, and attacking with 3 against 1, even sneaking up on him, wasn't that too despicable? Hot Pants said, "Despicable? Gaucho has already been killed. We need to solve this with the least risk possible. Can you stop pretending to be some saint?" Johnny also leaned in to persuade Gyro. "If we keep wandering, it'll turn dark soon. We absolutely can't spend the night here. And who knows where Diego is now? If he already passed through here, we'll fall behind him by an entire day, and then it'll be impossible to reach Kansas City ahead of him." Thinking of his father far away in Europe, and the boy waiting for him to save his life, Gyro reluctantly agreed. As for how to attack, Hot Pants had already come up with a plan. In a moment, Gyro and Johnny would go knock on the door, distract the man, and keep him talking, while Hot Pants would circle around to strike from behind. Gyro and Johnny were confused. Circle around? How are you going to circle around? He's not blind. Hot Pants pulled out his sprayer and suddenly pressed it. A massive burst of flesh shot straight into the air. The sprayer was carried along with it and got caught on the eaves of the small house. He had hidden his entire left hand inside the sprayer. Once the enemy came out, he would use his stand cream starter to take him out instantly.